We would not be Tulane if we were anywhere else. Can you imagine Tulane in Kansas? I mean, it's just,
Not with those convocations and commencement.
The money doesn't grow on trees, unfortunately. Believe me, I've checked all the trees, and the money's not growing there.
Ladies and gentlemen, our featured guest today is Michael Fitz. He is president of Tulane University. Now in his second decade of leading Tulane, President Fitz has overseen a period of significant growth, research, education, and the university's role in New Orleans and Louisiana, and I'll just say around the country and the world. President Fitz, it's great to have you with us.
Mark, thank you for having me. It's great to be with Mr. New Orleans on the show.
You're very kind, sir. Thank you. You welcomed recently the class of 2030. That has got to be such an exciting moment. I saw some video of you
making a fool of myself,
leading a second line
right.
at the campus. When you look at those students and they're just beginning their Tulane experiences, I mean, they're going to have so many. What do you hope that they understand about this opportunity that they've given themselves? Or I should say that their parents have also helped them.
They've helped as well. Now,
Yeah.
You know what I have to say, just as a note, Tulane convocations and commencements are like no other place in the country. As you say, it's second line, it's fun, not pomp and circumstance. So it's a great moment, not only for them, but for me. I have a great time when we welcome them to campus. 2,000, close to 2,000 entering students in the first year class. And let me just say, I am a huge advocate for the traditional four-year undergraduate experience. We live in a crazy world, social media, divisions, and so on. To bring these students from literally all over the world, all over Louisiana, together to live with one another, close with one another, to get to know one another from all over. There's nothing like that in the world at all, and I think it's never been more important. And our students, they love it. They love each other. They're attracted to New Orleans and Tulane. And I just think there's nothing better.
Yeah, you said that about getting to know each other, and they're going to be living on that campus. And I know there's a policy that you want people to be on that campus, and y'all have built some beautiful dormitories over the last several years.
Yeah, we've literally built 11 buildings since I arrived at Tulane on the campus itself. Yeah. And part of that has been to bring back juniors on campus. And there's just nothing like the experience of living close and getting to know your classmates and being involved with the community. So we've done that, and the results have been very, very positive. Students are much more engaged with each other, with activities, and the neighborhood is happy. Some of the neighborhood is happy that they don't have as many students living in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and you've got that opportunity, as you said, for students to get to know each other and mentor each other through the process.
They do these polls of universities, and Tulane is always in the top 5 in the country of students who like their classmates. And that's just, it's a function, I think, of the physical layout. If the Uptown campus, it's very intimate. It's a function of New Orleans and the type people we attract. Yeah. So anyway, it's a great.
That's
great
beautiful.
poll.
Now, you've led Tulane for more than a decade. When you think back to the university you inherited and look at Tulane today, what change or accomplishment makes you most proud?
I like all my children. I like a lot of in some sense, Tulane has not changed at all for 50 years, and in some sense, it's changed radically. There are two things I point to. One is literally the transformation of the undergraduate experience. We've built residential learning communities so students come and work and study with each other. We've really improved the curriculum. The students expanded engineering, business, public health, all the programs for undergrads. We have more joint majors probably than any school in the country. So the whole undergraduate experience is transformed. And we've become, a decade ago, we took over 40% of our applicants. We now take 15%. So we've become much more competitive. So I'm very proud of what we have to offer as intimate. But the other piece of this, and it's very important for New Orleans, is the growth of our research enterprise. We have doubled our external funding, close to doubled our external funding over the last decade. Despite what you see in the press about cutbacks and so on, we've done spectacularly well. Brought back engineering, medicine in major ways. And that has really created the opportunity for students and faculty to do cutting edge research and the downtown campus, which will have major effects, I think, on New Orleans and Tulane University itself.
Yeah, let's go there just for a moment. The Charity Hospital redevelopment, which y'all are spearheading.
Right.
Talk to us about the importance of that particular project, which is long in coming. We're 20 years plus from Katrina, and now we actually see something that's going to come to life.
You know, I don't think you ever see sort of an event that encapsulates so many trends in one moment as Charity Hospital. You know, I can tell you, Charity Hospital was, when it was built, the second largest hospital in the United States. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many people say they were born there. They tell me they were cared for there. I have to say their parents passed away there, or doctors who said they trained there. I mean, there's literally 1,000 stories.
Yeah, and I can add one to that. My dad worked there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he was in the communications department.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
So there you go. Another one. I mean, literally every week somebody's telling about what this meant and how important it was. And it was part of the commitment to the health of the community, right? I mean, it was the hospital. And then Charity destroyed it, right? Or brought it, and it sat, in a sense, for 20 plus years unused. What we're doing, and this is what's so amazing, we're going to bring it back, but not as a hospital, but really as a 22nd century medical health center. It'll be a center for research. We'll have 700 researchers there. Wow. And it will be the largest biomedical building with researchers under one roof in the entire Gulf South, and I'm including Houston, all the way
Birmingham,
to
and all.
So it will be huge, but you know, it will be a center for that. What's great about this is the political leadership of Louisiana have come together on this. Mm-hmm. Both the governor, the state, as well as the city council, the federal, they all recognize what an opportunity this is to sort of support research. And as I said, ours, you know, despite what you see and read outside, we've continued to rise, and Charity will allow us to move to the next level as an institution.
Very exciting. Let's go back to the early days. Tulane and New Orleans have always been deeply connected. I mean, we go back to the early 1800s. Right. In your view, what does Tulane get from being in this city that it simply could not get anywhere else?
God, we would not be Tulane if we were anywhere else. Can you imagine Tulane in Kansas? I mean, you know, it's just, you know.
Not with those convocations and commencement.
No, it's our culture. We get so much from the culture, the warmth, the creativity, the joy. I mean, I must say, I tell students when they come into Tulane, we're the University of Chicago, which is one of the great academic institutions in the country, where fun didn't go to die. So it's that combination of the culture, the warmth, the relations of New Orleans. That's so important for education, for everything else. So it's that, which I think.
It's that joie de vivre.
Yes,
it's the way that we live. It's the culture. Let's talk about that research again. Of all the discoveries and ideas currently being developed at the university, what excites you the most, or can you name some that you really can talk about?
So, I mean, I have to say, again, I like all my children. And what's so incredible is this, with this growth in research, every day I hear about some discovery that makes a real difference in the world. You know, we live in a world where, you know, research, really it's jobs, it's medical breakthroughs. Literally in the last week, there was this announcement of the research on Genesis, which is this next stage on superconductors, and we have faculty from physics and chemistry, artificial intelligence coming together, and they've been funded to the next stage of superconductors. You all saw the ARPA-H, where we have people across fields from bioengineering, from computer sciences and surgery, coming up with a AI pathology when patients are on the table to see about the spread of cancer. That's what was the $25 million, $23 million ARPA-H grant.
Yeah.
The thing is, we live in a world of interdisciplinary. We have faculty across fields, and Tulane is just at the forefront of that. Plus, thinking about real-world problems that they'll make a difference on.
Yeah, and also your faculty and researchers are being quoted all over the place. I mean, just on National Public Radio recently, I heard one of your research scientists discussing Ebola, and
Right.
that they were the go-to source for information on what's happening in the Congo.
So, you look across the university, the oldest school in that case of public health in the United States, top 10. They're stars, and they're at the forefront. But what's particularly important is nowadays we live in a world where the research has immediate impact. It can change lives for people. I also should mention, for purposes of New Orleans, it creates jobs. Tulane, we're the largest private employer, but we've added to date 1,200 jobs at Tulane over the last decade. You think about these data centers, permanent jobs, they're certainly nowhere in that category. And we're looking at the downtown with the growth in research of 2,400 more jobs.
You mentioned that how many scientists will be at the
700
charity. Yeah.
scientists, yeah.
Yeah. You're also positioned in the center of so many of the conversations about energy and climate and the future of our economy. Why do you believe this city can play an important role in shaping what comes next down those particular areas?
You know what? New Orleans, Louisiana, we're in a very unique position. We're obviously an energy center. We're very much involved in energy and the future of energy, but we're also environmentally threatened. So we need to be thinking about all the different trade-offs. And universities, I think, are in a very special place. As a university, we don't take positions, but we can be, in a sense, impresarios of bringing about the conversation. And so in the context of energy, we launched the Energy Forum, which has become a sort of a juggernaut nationally of bringing in some of the top minds to think about energy. We're launching an Energy Institute so that we can bring our own researchers together as part of this conversation. We do the same thing, by the way, at BookFest. New Orleans Book Festival at Tulane has exploded, where we bring in people across the board. We now 20,000 people from across the United States.
Yeah, we have to get Cheryl and Walter on the show to talk about what they've been able to do under your leadership to bring that.
It's astounding
where
what they've achieved. 5 years ago, it didn't exist. And now, what do I get lobbied? I get lobbied about somebody who wants to be admitted to Tulane University. But the other thing I get lobbied on, can I get them on BookFest, on one of the panels on BookFest? It may be harder to get on a panel on BookFest.
I know it's become a very literary social scene, I should say, if I can say that right.
So let me just say, you say about our relationship with New Orleans, I think of BookFest as like Jazz Fest. It is Walter, of course, started it with the model of the Aspen Ideas Festival. And of course, it has all of that. But it's New Orleans, right? So it has panels on music, panels on food, it has fun, it's lively. And that has just been a juggernaut.
Yeah.
It is the Aspen Ideas Festival, New Orleans style.
Yeah,
we call it the Mardi Gras for the mind.
One of the funniest panels I witnessed was the one with Cooper and Archie talking about. They just were just talking. They were like at the dinner table, just talking, and they had a blast. And anyway, that's just one of the many good memories coming out of that. Tulane, national and international reputation, but also it's known as a Louisiana institution. How important is it to you that young people from New Orleans and across the state see Tulane as a place where they can belong and also succeed?
So that's a great, I mean, on one level, we've said for many years, we're one of the most national institutions in the country, which is students travel on average further to attend Tulane University than any other school. So when you have a student coming from the East Coast to the West Coast or Chicago, they travel a long distance. Having said that, we understand our connection with Louisiana and New Orleans. And so we launched Louisiana Promise several years ago, which allows for any student from Louisiana whose family makes $100,000 or less to come to Tulane loan-free. And that program has just skyrocketed interest in Tulane. Louisiana this past year is the #1 school of entrance. And the students who qualify for Louisiana Promise, 80% decide. They got to be admitted through the normal processes.
Right.
So that's really, in a sense, brought, it ensures that the best and brightest can stay here. We also launched with College Track, which helps high school students get ready for college. And literally, we're going to dedicate the new College Track facility, the national facility, on our campus, on our new campus next month.
That's great.
So anyway, it's the other thing I have to say is 40% of the students at Tulane, according to our polls, want to stay in Louisiana after they graduate. So they come and they fall in love. They fall in love with New Orleans and Louisiana. And part of what we're hoping is with this downtown is to create the jobs.
Yeah, that's wonderful. There's a lot of energy on the campus, but I also know that there's so much energy when you have Parents' Weekend, because it fills the hotels and you get all that other energy coming in from parents wanting to see the city that their child is attending.
If you look at between football and all the parents' activities, I can't imagine what impact we have.
The economic impact alone
on hospitality. The other
Parents'
thing
Weekend.
you have to appreciate is what I say to students coming to Tulane is you better get along with your parents because they're going to come visit. They may not even tell you that they've come and visited. And so what I've found is there are a huge number of parents who you'll find in the hotels, whether or not it's related to Tulane or not.
Yeah. You will eventually be part of this great Tulane history. And when, if you could go into the looking glass at yourself and think 50 years down the line, what will people say about your tenure?
Well, I do think Tulane now is recognized as a great academic university, locally and globally. But when I think about things that will change us and change New Orleans, I think of our downtown initiative with charity, because it's the biggest initiative in the history of Tulane. But if we do it right, it will create a neighborhood and an economic impact that could be literally help transform the city and grow its employment base. Hospitality is wonderful; it's great, but this provides a sort of another way for jobs. One thing I should mention, I don't know if you noticed, NASDAQ just did a study of startups of cities and found New Orleans was 14th in the growth of startups. And they cited Tulane because we've really looked at that. With the downtown, we're going to have startups in charity. And the idea is to keep them here in New Orleans. We have a lot of startups that come out of Tulane, but they'll go to Austin or Boston or something. We want to make sure they stay here. That will be an impact.
Very good. Before we get into the official New Orleans questionnaire, we're not going to let you get away without talking something about athletics and what that, not only the success over the last several years, but also what's happened with the stadium being on campus. And speak to us about
right, and you of all people can appreciate this more than anybody. Look, athletics brings communities together. It creates bonds. In this world, the way we live in is extremely important. And Tulane has 3 major athletic facilities on its campus. Obviously, Yeoman Stadium, Fogelman Devlin, the basketball arena, and Turchin, which bring the community together. And you can't overstate that and the value of that. And as you know, what's great about Yeoman, right on campus, people can walk to it, and it was ranked in the top 25 stadiums in the United States, but of the college stadiums, but of the 25, it was the smallest. And what they said was it reflects the culture of New Orleans, right? The warmth, so on. So I can't overstate the value of that. And I have to say, we've probably had, if you look at private universities over the last 4 years in football, we've actually been ranked in the top 25 each of those 4 years at some point. We've probably had as much success as any private university, other than Notre Dame, USC, and Miami. I mean, so we punched way above our weight class.
Yeah, I'm about to say, and plus we have an exciting season ahead with a new coach. Looking forward to that too.
I will say, not get into it, college athletics are turned upside down with the transfer portal and other things. And we have, it's hard, when you lose your quarterbacks for $8 million, it's hard for Tulane. We don't get the money that the LSUs and other get. So it's hard for us to compete.
Yeah, but you got so many great fans out there, loyal alumni, and it's going to be a great season.
Oh, it's fun, and everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it.
All right, well, you ready for the official New Orleans questionnaire?
All right. Okay.
All right. I have a feeling you're going to pass this with flying colors.
Uh-oh.
You'll have a good grade. All right, this is brought to you by Bienville Capital Group. They're helping families and businesses build a plan and achieve their financial goals with personalized guidance. All right, sir, the first question is, what is the best po' boy?
What is the best po' boy?
For you, what do you consider to be the best po' boy?
Melba's, probably.
And what would you order at Melba's?
Oh, geez, probably chicken.
Okay, chicken po' boy.
Yeah.
Dressed?
I like them naked.
I like it naked. All right, very good. All right, here's one. You have the opportunity to see one New Orleans musical artist. They can be dead or alive. They're in concert. Where would it be and who would it be?
Irma Thomas.
Irma Thomas.
Now she showed up at the first book fest, and of course you see her at Jazz Fest all the time. And I must say, a lot of people close to me just adore her.
Yeah,
so
that's fantastic. All right. What is your favorite New Orleans smell?
Probably jasmine. There's a jasmine wall in the Pocket Park at Tulane.
Yeah.
So when you walk by, you can.
And we've had that answer before.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Jasmine seems
I'm
to
not
be.
cheating, but
No, you're not.
no,
Well,
oh, wow.
yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. Mardi Gras or Jazz Fest?
So that's really interesting. I actually try and close my office a day, and we all go to Jazz Fest. So Jazz Fest is special and unique, and just so. But Mardi Gras is fun. I mean, I always march with the Tulane band in Mardi Gras, but I'm a Jazz Fest fan.
Okay, very
right?
good. All right. So if you had to build a Saints Mount Rushmore, 4 faces on a Mount Rushmore that would be featured from the Saints, who would those faces be for you?
Well, you got to have Archie Manning, right?
Okay, Archie
and
Manning.
And Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
I put Cam Jordan.
Cam Jordan.
How about you?
Sir, sir, I will defer that one and give you another choice. You're kind.
So there's a Tulane graduate who just was signed by the Saints, Ryan
Right. That's right.
and as the punter.
Yes, sir.
So it's a 4-year contract.
All right, we'll put him up there.
I got to put him now. Whether any, I would probably be not the first person to put him there, but I'm real proud of him.
Very
really
good.
Proud of him.
All right, let's go to gumbo. Chicken or seafood?
Chicken.
Okay,
I'm a chicken guy.
What is your, not that you have time to watch movies or TV TV series, but if you did, what is your favorite New Orleans movie or TV series?
So I must say, what is it? NCI New Orleans.
NCIS New Orleans.
So, yeah, so, no, I got to tell you, when I remember, like one of the first time I was watching it, I looked out and I noticed they were filming where they'd filmed was right outside my office at Gibson. Now, of course, they didn't describe it as like that, but it hooked me for the first time, and it was just, and of course, it always gets you when they're on St. Charles and they make a right turn, and a block later they're down in the quarter or something or other. But I liked the show. I
they
really
treated
did.
New Orleans well.
Yeah, no, I loved it.
Beautiful.
I loved it.
All right, neutral ground or sidewalk side?
This is pathetic, but I like the sidewalk because it's easier to go get stuff, food, and other
Very
things.
good.
Yeah, right.
I've heard that one before too. Okay, your earliest memory of visiting the French Quarter?
Well before I came to Tulane, but it was the beignets, right? And
You were just
and
traveling around the country?
traveling. It was years ago.
Yeah.
I'd been here mainly for conventions and things like that. But I remember the beignets and getting all the
Cafe du
sugar
Monde.
on my hands.
Very
and all
nice.
That stuff.
All right. Dead or alive, who is the one person you'd like to take to lunch, and where in New Orleans would you take them?
So it's interesting. I met her when I first came to New Orleans, Leah Chase, and I literally, it was sort of like a not a long exchange back and forth, and then she later passed away. She was so much a part of history, and so many different people referred to her and talked to her. It would be great.
And so generous with her time. Where would you take her to lunch?
Dookie Chase.
Dookie Chase.
Are you kidding me?
Had to ask. All right, what is your favorite New Orleans song? Either a song by a New Orleans artist or a song about New Orleans.
Oh God, I love it. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans?
Very nice.
I mean, we play that at every commencement, and there's not a dry eye in the house. Not a dry eye in the house. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, really, it's a beautiful song, but you have 4,000 students there graduating, and some of them will stay, but a lot are going to be leaving, and they all love New Orleans.
Yeah. What's so good about that is that I bet those students that do leave, they come back on a regular basis.
Oh,
homecoming.
Well, if you're recruiting somebody, and if you find out that they spent time in New Orleans, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
What's the one New Orleans food item you can't live without?
What is the one? This is terrible. I shouldn't say this. Fried chicken.
All right.
I love fried.
You got a little spice with it?
It's not what you're supposed to say, but I love fried chicken.
I would be there with you. And they just announced a 3-day national.
Looking at you, you don't eat a lot of fried chicken.
They just announced a 3-day National Fried Chicken Festival coming up.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I missed that. Okay.
Raising Cane's is sponsoring it. All right, last one, sir. In 5 words or less, why do you love New Orleans?
It is. Look, they just did a 10 irreplaceable places in the United States, and there was only one city named, and the city named was New Orleans, irreplaceable. There's nothing like it, and it's the culture, it's the warmth, it's the quirkiness, the difference, and the acceptance of quirkiness. That's what makes it a great place for a university, great place for startups, and so it's that relational culture and the oddity of it all.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. President Fitz, thank you for being with us today and sharing your perspective and all the great things happening on the campus, and keep Tulane as great as it is. We deeply appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all you do for New Orleans and what you've meant to New Orleans and what you mean to Tulane, therefore.
Coming up, we're heading on the table with Scott Craig from Katie's in Mid-City and Francesca's in Lakeview for a conversation about New Orleans food, family, and the restaurant business. Then Jeff Duncan joins us on Move the Chains with the latest on the Saints as they wrap up the preseason and get ready for the regular season. And later, in 5 Minutes With, we'll visit with the athletic director from Tulane, David Harris, to talk about Tulane athletics. All right, welcome back. It is now time to go on the table, presented by Blue Runner, good for the heart and the soul. Our next guest is Scot Craig, the owner of Katie's in Mid-City and Francesca's Deli, two restaurants that have become part of New Orleans' neighborhood dining scene. Scot took over Katie's in 1993 and has helped grow it from a local favorite into a restaurant known well beyond New Orleans, while staying true to the food, people, and personality that makes a great neighborhood spot. Scot, great to have you with us. And if I might say, hello, Frater.
Yes, frater.
Frater. We're fraternity brothers.
We are fraternity
Tau Kappa
brothers.
Epsilon.
Yes. I was there a little bit after you, but
Yeah, you're much younger than me, Scot. Let's just get it out there right now. You
So-
do look much younger than me, so let's start there.
I don't think so, man. You look good. So my wife and I are partners at the restaurants.
Okay, so let's
So-
correct the record. 'Cause she's
Francesca
watching.
is Stephanie, and Katie's wouldn't be there without Stephanie.
Okay,
Because
thank you.
she has
I'm
been
glad
my
now you can
rock.
go home and live in peace.
No, but the truth is, I mean, after Katrina, she and I built a life together that's just been incredible.
Well, let's start there. The Katrina story. You're in Mid-City, Iberville Street for Katie's.
Yes.
Take us through the process. What happened?
We were rolling right along. It's Saturday. And my staff always knows I hate to close for anything. So finally, about 4 o'clock, one of my managers came up to me and said, "Scot, I think we need to get out of here." And I said, "Yeah, okay." So we closed that Saturday, and like we always did when storms were coming, we had been through that before.
Sure.
But this one looked big, and so we closed, and I attempted to drive to my brother's, who was living in Kill, Mississippi, where the storm went right through. It took an hour drive, took me 4 hours to get there, and I realized at that point this was going to be crazy. And we took off, and we went up to Little Rock, stayed with some friends, and by God's graces, CNN called me, had me come back to New Orleans to cook for them, which was, I didn't know what I was going to do. The restaurant was underwater. We weren't expecting that.
All your equipment, everything.
Everything. We were under 7 feet of water, between 4 and 7 feet, depending on the level. And, I got this call from CNN like a week after the storm. And I said, "I'll be there tomorrow." So I drove back, and they got me in the city, and I started working for CNN. And it was supposed to be a 3-month contract, and worked for them for a year and a half.
Where were y'all set up?
On Arado and Britannia. I forget the name of the building, but that's where our bureau was. And they brought in a mobile kitchen with coolers, walk-in coolers and freezers, and it was just incredible.
Right by
job.
Little Flower, the church.
Right there.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
And they gave us freedom to make anything we wanted to cook every day. So we were doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it was just so awesome to have that job at the time.
Yeah.
Because what else did we have?
Were you able to locate some of your team members to come with? Work with you. Yeah.
We had a couple of guys with us. But we were able to just create anything we wanted to create. Yeah. And that's what was so cool about it. And they were so appreciative to have hot food because they were eating MREs like everyone else.
Well, obviously you had made an impression on someone at CNN for them to reach out to you.
My dear friend Dave Sobiesk got a job with them as their driver. And he threw my name in the hat. And they called me.
Wow. Let's go way back now to the very early stages. What did you see in Katie's that you thought, this is going to be special?
Well, I worked at Bart's on the lake for years. I was a manager there. I left there in 1989 and bought Parkway Tavern. You remember that well.
Yes, I do.
So, I had been in the food industry while I was at Bart's and loved it and learned from it and had worked with some great people there and really loved the food side of the business. It was mostly bar for me, because I had worked at Parlay's. My first job was at Nick's, other than the Sizzler back in
Yeah,
1977.
Nick Castrogiovanni.
Yeah, it was my first bartending job, which was a hell of a job to have
Wow.
as your first job bartending, because we had to make all of those drinks and we really had to learn mixology.
Yeah, I mean, how many?
I still remember all of them, but most of them.
Yeah, between the sheets, I remember.
Between the sheets.
That was a tough one.
The Lake Pontchartrain.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think I can take credit for. I think I may have created that.
Created the Lake Pontchartrain drink.
There'll probably be a lot of people that argue with me. But anyway, I wanted to get back into the restaurant industry. So I was dating a girl that was working at Katie's. And it was just a little lunch place. They opened on Friday night for dinner. And it was just perfect. So they offered to sell it to me. And we took over, and it really started just growing and growing and growing. And we were open at night, and they were living upstairs. They owned the building and lived upstairs. And Kathy and David Bittner and Mary Rose, their daughter, the most wonderful people you'll ever meet in your life. But they were getting a little tired of the nighttime noise. So they came to me and said, why don't you buy the building? Greatest business move I ever made, because I bought the building. And I've been there since 1994. So,
wow.
Yeah, 32 years.
And you've developed the upstairs into dining spaces as well.
You had to. Stephanie and I lived up there until 2012. But when we reopened in 2010 after Katrina, it really took off.
Yeah, because you built that back brick by brick after Katrina.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I was working after the CNN experience, which was until December. It ended in 2007. We worked for them the whole year of 2006. They put us up in the Royal Sonesta Hotel. I was living in the hotel. It was just, they were unbelievable. Can't say enough about the people at CNN. Jack Womack, John Sears. I mean, I could go on and on. But I took over the school lunch program at Holy Rosary, which, oh, by the way, was the greatest job I've ever had.
Wow.
Working with those kids and the teachers there. And Mike Bender, the principal at the time, is one of my best friends to this day. But I worked there and did, odd catering jobs and would use Stephanie's credit card to go pay for the product to do an event at like Lakefront Arena, because I was doing the backstage at Lakefront Arena. And then Stephanie would make me pay her back as soon as we got paid for the event. I mean, that's literally how we rebuilt Katie's. Electrician, Scott Hahn, and my plumber at the time, Brad Trudeau. I mean, it took 5 years.
Doing what you needed to do to get there.
But the insurance situation was a joke.
Yeah.
And so that's how we rebuilt Katie's. And we finally got it reopened in 2010.
Yeah.
In May of 2010. And it just took off.
Yeah. Scott, every great New Orleans restaurant has dishes people feel almost protective about, right? What are Katie's dishes that really define the restaurant?
I don't feel protective of it because I'm not the guy that will not give out my recipes. I'm happy to do it.
Happy to share.
Happy to do it. But the crawfish beignet has been a phenom. And
that's your creation.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything there is my creation. Are my creations. But I was at Jazz Fest after we reopened, and I was eating the crawfish bread. And I was like, I had had a few cocktails. You get full of pride when you have a few cocktails. So I said, man, I could make this so much better. So I went back to the restaurant that day, or that evening, and I threw pizza dough in the deep fryer. Had never done that before. I was like, man, this is pretty good. Sauteed some crawfish, threw some cheese in there, some jalapenos, caramelized some onions, threw those in there, rolled them up, threw it into the deep fryer, and the crawfish beignet was born. And people love it.
There you
it's
go.
crazy.
Wow.
I
should have asked you to bring that to
well,
the show.
I'll bring anything you want.
Wow. All right, let's move over to Francesca.
Yeah.
You created Francesca. That's got its own personality. It's New Orleans. It's Italian. Some St. Louis influences.
It's a lot of St. Louis.
Where did the concept come from, and how did you make it feel different from Katie's, yet people know your quality, so they're getting it both places?
My beautiful bride is from St. Louis, and we were spending a lot of time in St. Louis, obviously. Well, they have great Italian delis up there, absolutely phenomenal Italian delis up there. And her mom could cook with anybody. So what we did, I wanted to do like a New Orleans, St. Louis fusion, and that word's overused, but just it's like a little New Orleans.
No one's ever done that before.
No.
New Orleans, St. Louis.
Everybody thinks Chicago, New York, but we brought the St. Louis style pizza, and I say St. Louis style. Some of St. Louis's pizza is outstanding. But some of it's just, it's Provel cheese. Yeah. And it's a cheese that is processed, but it's great. And, we cut the pizza in squares. Now, our dough is not exactly like St. Louis style, but it's my mother-in-law's dough recipe, which we also use at Katie's. But it's just fun. We do the toasted ravs, her recipe, the sauce, the meatballs, everything. It's just got, we get Dad's cookies, we get Fitz sodas, and I try to bring as much of St. Louis as I possibly can. Yeah. If I could get bread from Missouri Bakery, it would be,
you would do that.
It would be the kicker, but they will not ship.
All right. So. You've got the national attention through CNN, but shows like diners, drive-ins, and
Triple
dives.
D.
The Triple D.
Put you on the map, man.
Tell me, what did that do?
Tripled business overnight.
Wow.
And the show took 3 days to film. The first one, because he's been to Katie's twice. And they've done 3 shows that where Katie's is included. But Guy Fieri, and I think we've been on 13 Food Network and Travel Channel shows since then. But when Guy Fieri comes to your restaurant, it'll change everything for you. And they tell you that when they're there, and you're looking at them like,
get ready. It's coming.
You're right. Okay. And so I was more worried about the 3 days we had to be closed. And they said, please don't worry about the 3 days you're going to have to be closed. It's not going to matter. And it showed on a Monday night in February of 11. It aired. And literally the next day, we had a line down the street. And we were already busy.
Yeah.
We were already doing really well. But it just puts you on the map nationally, because when people travel, they go to Flavortown, which is Guy Fieri's site. And people go to those restaurants. And I will tell you that the interview process to get on that show is intense. I had 3 calls in a 2-month period where they all asked the same questions over and over. And I was like, man, what is this? I mean, and so
they want to make sure you're consistent.
They want to make sure you're consistent. Yeah. So if you go to a Triple D restaurant, the chances are it's going to be pretty good.
It's a special club to be part of.
It really is.
That's really
good. And they've called me and asked my opinion about some other restaurants in New Orleans that they've used. I've given them leads that I thought would be good. And I'm a part of the Triple D family. And I thank, once again, my wife, Stephanie, because I don't watch that stuff.
Yeah.
She was watching it, and she sent in hey, we're here, and they chose us. And we're not a diner, a drive-in, or a dive. But they loved my Katrina story.
Yeah, well, and look, you are a hallmark of the neighborhood, and you're just such an epitome of what a neighborhood restaurant can be and should be.
That's what we strive to be.
Walk in,
it's
friendly
why
faces,
we don't have more of them.
Friendly faces, comfortable seating, delicious food.
Yep, you can't.
Reasonable pricing. It's all there.
And it works.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, this is a Scott Craig menu," because everything on it, there's a million things. I want something for everyone. Yeah. I want anybody that comes in.
And the portions are very good.
They are very good. You will take boxes home. We lead the city in to-go boxes.
I love it. What's next for the Craig family with Francesca's and Katie's? What's the 5-year plan?
Retirement and travel.
Your son's working with you, right?
Yeah. Connor is working with us. Connor is a marine biologist, working with us, and who knows what the future holds there, because he's never really showed a lot of interest in the restaurant industry.
He's got a career ahead of him, right? I mean,
You would think.
marine biologist.
You would think, but he's working on that. He is a great young man. Brother Martin, Spring Hill grad. He's always done really, really well. But right now he's trying to find himself, and he's working at the restaurant. He's learning management. We'll have to see about
He's got a great dad as a mentor, too.
I am very proud
And
of
mom,
being
too.
his father.
And mom, too.
Yeah. Stephanie's been incredible with
Yeah.
him, and
Let's talk about your college years and the importance of that education.
LSU my first year. There was no education involved except fun. And I was educated on my father telling me, if you don't bring your grades up, you're coming home and going to UNO. And I respected my father and listened to him. And I realized I was 18, but
How to get it out of your system.
my mother and father were salt of the earth, just wonderful people. So I came home and I got stuck at UNO. And the first thing he said was, don't join a fraternity until you get your grades up. And I don't know where that came from. But the first thing I did was pledge teak. And
Tau Kappa Epsilon.
we are Tau Kappa Epsilon brothers.
That's right. We are fraternity
So-
brothers. From a different era, I might say.
It is a different
Yeah.
era.
But
But
the same fraternity.
it was still UNO. UNO
It was UNO then,
74,
right? Now LSU New Orleans.
So got into history, political science. I was going to law school.
Oh,
I wanted to be like my big brother, who's 18 years older than me, and was going to law school. But then fell in love with the hospitality industry. I worked full time the whole time I was in school, bartending, managing bars,
right.
doing whatever. And I started at Bart's. I was really managing and learning the restaurant business while going to school, sort of full time. I'd start full time and I'd end up part time. But it just took 7 years to finish school.
Yeah.
But and I never went to law school. I loved what I was doing.
Yeah, you followed
and
your
we bought
passion.
the
That's the
bar.
important thing. Your heart was there in hospitality.
It really, really was. My heart is with people. I love my customers. If I ever have to retire for some reason, the customers that come in our restaurants, and especially Katie's is the coolest, diverse crowd you've ever seen in your life. And we have the most wonderful customers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Stephanie worries about me retiring one day. How are you going to fill that void? And I'll go hang out there.
You remind me of the person who doesn't have a job. They have a hobby. They have a passion, and you enjoy it every day.
Most of the time, yeah. I mean, the restaurant business is tough. Yeah. And it's all about who you have as your right and left hand. And I've got Stephanie, my beautiful bride, and I've got a wonderful staff, management, Connor, Marcus Tyler, I'll mention him again, and Eileen, and Murphy, and Pablo. I mean, I've got people that have been working there for 15 years.
Yeah.
They never leave. Katie Johnson, Katie, when we first opened, she walks in the door from Oregon looking for a job. She never left.
Yeah.
She's just incredible. I mean,
You treat
Natalie
your
and Alan.
team very well. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, we do. It's a family. And going back to, this is why I don't have any more Katies. We have had opportunities to open a couple of more fully financed. It was like 10 years ago, and I looked at Stephanie. She said, why on earth would you want to do that? Your job won't be fun anymore. You're going to be traveling, and you're not going to see the customers that you say you love so much. People aren't going to be eating your food. Tim, it's not all about money.
Yeah.
It's not about how much money you can make or lose. It's about loving what you do. Yeah. And I love New Orleans, man. I love this city. I love everything about it. If I ever do retire, I want to work with New Orleans Company, with something that I can help this city grow.
Yeah.
Because I love what's happening right now.
Well, you're such an ambassador. Scott,
And I'm
the
proud.
community is very
I
fortunate
am
to
a
have
proud New Orleanian.
have you.
Thank you, Mark. That's a big deal to me. That means a lot. Coming from you?
and Stephanie.
Yeah, man. She's a St. Louis transplant and loves this city. And we will never live outside of Orleans Parish.
All right.
Ever.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, continued best wishes to Katie's and Francesca's and to all the Craig's, and everything that you're touching is so beautiful, and we appreciate it so very much. And have a great rest of the summer. Keep culinary moving forward.
We will, buddy. We'll keep it through September, believe me.
Yeah, and then we go into Saints season.
We're already there, buddy.
Right.
We're already
we
there.
are there.
I'm fired up.
Good.
This team's going to be
What
good.
keeps you excited about New Orleans?
The people. Us.
Beautiful.
I mean, we're different, man. This city's different. We travel a lot. This city's different from everywhere else. We live amongst one another and love one another like any other, more than any other city.
Thank you for your support of the city and at LSU New Orleans and all that you mean to all of us.
Brother Martin High.
Brother Martin High School, another Brother Martin grad right here sitting. Move the chains! And we're here with Jeff Duncan, author and sports columnist for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Jeff has covered the Saints, as y'all know, and the New Orleans sports scene for years. And with the preseason winding down, there's plenty to talk about. Jeff, it's great to have you with us again.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. There's always something to talk about in New Orleans. It's
Yeah.
one of the great things, being a newsman in this town, it's never dull.
All right, let us go back a couple of weeks. I have to ask you, you wrote the book on Drew Brees and Sean Payton, and you had that front row seat to so many things during those years, that great partnership that they had. What was it like watching Sean present Drew with his Pro Football Hall of Fame induction?
It was a pretty magical moment. You could tell how much it meant to both those men, especially Sean. I think you don't see him emotional like that. I'll give you a little inside scoop. When I went to interview Sean a couple weeks before the enshrinement ceremony, I was asking him about the fact that Drew had picked him to be his presenter. And Sean, I was in my car interviewing him over the speaker in my car, and we had a connection breakup. At least that's what I thought it was, Mark. And instead, it was Sean getting so emotional that he was sobbing. I've never heard him like that in my career. And he came back on finally and said, "You're not breaking up, I am." And that carried over to that ceremony. You could see how much it meant to him, and it was just a magical time. It was Camelot in New Orleans, those 15 years. And I think the further we get from that time period, I think the more we realize just how special it was.
Yeah, and you saw the love that was being exhibited in Canton with so many Saints fans.
Yeah, and players, former teammates. I've been going to the enshrinement ceremony since I've been on the selection committee over a decade now. I've been to a bunch of them even before that. I've never seen a turnout like that for any single player, not only from the fan base, but also former teammates. I think it's clearly a testament to Drew Brees, and not just his greatness as a football player, but I think it resonated more as a person, as a leader in the community. I talked to so many fans that were there that said as much. I mean, there were fans there, Mark, from all over the world. I met fans from Italy, from Canada, that flew in just to see him get inducted. I think that's amazing, an amazing, testament to his leadership and what he meant to the people in the city of New Orleans and to that franchise.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Here we are celebrating the Saints' 60th season, and you've covered the franchise in the city for such a long time. What do you think the Saints have come to mean to New Orleans beyond football?
Well, I think they're, entwined into the cultural fabric of the city. To me, they're one of the few things, along with, I would say, Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest. We have these kind of cultural touchstones that bind us all. And we're such a divided society now over so many other things, but the Saints are one of the unifying things in our city. And I didn't know that when I first moved here to cover the Saints. That was in 99, 2000. I'm dating myself a little bit, but I knew about the Packers fan base. I knew about the Steelers and some of these other kind of vaunted franchises. I had no idea there was this connection to the team with the city. And I think that extends far beyond the football field. I think we see it week to week, when the Saints win or lose, it affects the psychology of the city and the mood of the people in the city. It's very rare and it's special. And I think you can sense it right now, Mark. There's hope for the first time in a long time. And I think everyone's genuinely and probably realistically optimistic about this year.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this year. Obviously, we just had a game against the Rams. Starters got a significant workout during the week.
Yes.
They had some great joint practices with both Dallas and Los Angeles. When you look at that West Coast trip as a whole, what positives should Saints fans take away?
Well, they competed well in those joint practices against both the Cowboys and the Rams. I mean, I would argue the Rams are probably, well, they are in Las Vegas, the favorite to win the Super Bowl, the best roster in the NFL. They competed well with them, and they competed on even terms with the Cowboys, who also are kind of a sneaky playoff contender. I think that's a very positive sign. I wouldn't worry at all about that preseason performance. I mean, that looked like a tired team. If you think about it, if you incorporate in the joint practices against the Jaguars in the preseason game the week before, they basically had 5 competitive either games or workouts in 10 days. And they just looked tired. I realized that the Rams were kind of on a similar timeline, but the Rams are a deeper team right now. They're just a team that's further along in the transition. And I can remember so many of the Saints' best teams laying eggs in preseason games. I mean, they rested 38 players.
Yeah.
Most every key player was rested either because of injuries or precautionary reasons. So this is not the team that's going to be lining up on Sunday when they open the season against Detroit. And I also think you see a coaching staff right now that's further along than they were a year ago. Now they have a full season under their belts.
Yeah. So we've got a open practice Wednesday night tonight. Wednesday night at Ullman Stadium. That's always exciting because the fans can come out and be in that atmosphere. At this point in camp, what are you watching most closely before the regular season begins? Because we do play the Cowboys as well at the end of this week.
Correct, and I think that open practice will be a great chance for the fans to get out. It's always a great environment there. Let's hope we get good weather. But I've been watching all camp just Tyler Shuck. I mean, to me, everything revolves around him. I know that seems simplistic. He's the quarterback, cliche a little bit, but I can just tell you everyone in that building has been lifted by him. Coaches, support staff, front office executives. This guy I think's way better than they even imagined. And they were very high on him when he came out of the draft. But I think they realized they've got the guy they've been looking for since Drew Brees retired. He just kind of gets it, Mark. I mean, he gets all facets of being the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. There's a lot that goes into that off the field as well as on it. But the veterans on the team have bought into him. And I've just been watching him kind of take this team under his wing. He's leading that pregame huddle now.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a little bit of a, I don't know, something that's not that important, but in New Orleans, that's an important role. That was Drew Brees and DeMario Davis taking that role before. And he's earned it, and the veterans on the team, unsolicited, will tell you how much they're buying in and wanting him to take control of this team and lead them.
Yeah, and he's really become part of the community in many ways. We were just kind of laughing the other day. We found out he had mentioned Radastas as his place to get his po' boys, and so Radastas is now naming a po' boy after him.
Nice.
So it'll be interesting that as he gets his footprint on all those cultural things.
I was just going to say, I think that's very genuine too. I don't think he's doing it because he's supposed to do it. I think this is how he's wired. I mean, he wants to dive in. I was talking to his agent earlier today, and his agent was saying, this is a guy that once you show you care about him, you're loyal to him, he's all in. And I think we've seen that so far in his brief time here.
Yeah. Health is always becoming a concern at any point in the NFL season, particularly now as you start the year. All teams are dealing with it. As we get closer to week 1, which injuries or position groups are kind of worrying you the most right now?
A couple. The receiver position, losing Jordan Tyson, that was a big blow for this team. I mean, he was the first-round draft pick, a top 10 pick, the first top 10 wide receiver they've taken in decades. And he had looked great in camp so far. And you could see the connection between him and Tyler Shuck was really developing. Unfortunately, he re-injured his hamstring, which has been an issue for him, a chronic issue, going back to his college days. He's going to be sidelined for a couple months, and they were building so much of the offense around him. The good news is they have time now to go to plan B, but they just don't have another receiver with his all-around package, his skill set, his athleticism. So I think it's going to hurt this team as far as their ability to produce big plays. That was something that really hurt them a year ago. They were last in the league in 20-yard passes and 10-yard runs. That was why they drafted him. So they're going to have to figure out a way to manufacture those plays without him. And then the cornerback position, losing Quincy Riley, who's not probably a household name yet in New Orleans, but a very key player for this team at a position that's very hard to find good players. There's a supply and demand issue with cornerbacks in this league. He's going to be out for a while with a groin injury, and they were already, Mark, worried about that position depth-wise. And I think we saw that kind of rear its head in that Rams game when the guys that they're looking to kind of replace Riley were getting picked on.
Yeah, and there's been some roster moves just in the last couple of days. Can you speak to those?
Yeah, well, they had to make a trade for a running back. Zamir White's coming in, a veteran player, I think, just to supply some depth because Alvin Kamara's out right now. Devin Neal was a draft pick a year ago, is out. And Audric Estime, who was a promising young player on their depth chart, who was probably the number 3 running back, they're all out with injury. So that was a move, I think, a little bit to bolster up their depth chart, get through these next few weeks until Alvin can come back. And then they signed a kicker, Daniel Carlson, a veteran kicker from Auburn. Originally, LSU fans might remember him from the SEC days. But this is a guy that's had some great years in the NFL. And I think they're worried about the consistency of Tanner Brown and Charlie Smith right now. I don't think they feel confident in them. And you don't make a move like that this late in camp without thinking he's going to be the kicker.
Yeah. All right, well, let's switch over to college football. We've got Tulane and LSU heading into the season. What are the biggest questions you have surrounding those two programs, and any other insight you can give us about what's happening up in Baton Rouge?
Well, there's a lot happening. That's to put it mildly.
Always looking for information.
Headlines every day coming out of Baton Rouge. It's amazing. It's become the epicenter of college football, college sports right now. It's going to be one of the most fascinating, compelling seasons that I can remember. I've started at the Times-Picayune covering LSU. So going back to my roots, working on a book project on LSU for HarperCollins, and I'm excited to see that season as it plays out. I don't think it can go wrong either way. I think it's either going to be spectacularly successful or spectacularly disappointing because there's such great expectations accompanying Lane Kiffin's arrival. And it's interesting, both the programs, Tulane and LSU, going through coaching changes for different reasons. But Tulane going with Will Hall right now, trying to replace and step into the large footsteps of John Sumrall, who's one of the best coaches that I've ever covered. Yeah. I think he's going to be highly successful at Florida. And Will Hall's got big shoes to fill in replacing him. But I like Will Hall. I like where the program's at. I think they may take a little bit of a step back in his first year just because the quarterback situation's still unsettled. But I think he'll be in the mix in the future for bowl games. And I think that program's floor right now is a winning season and getting to a bowl game.
Yeah, we were talking to President Fitz, Michael Fitz, about the just the feeling on the campus, the fact that they brought the football stadium back in to play, and just that enthusiasm on campus, whether they take the American Conference Championship or they are just very competitive. They've got a great student body there pushing them.
It feels like they've turned the corner athletically. They understand what they want to be as a football program, and it's a big part of campus life now. I mean, you hear it all the time. It's not cliche that sports are the front porch of university, and I think that's certainly been the case for Tulane these last few years. With the exposure and the profile has been raised with the university. Admissions, applications are way up, and the same is true for LSU. You talk to anybody at LSU when they've won those national titles, the next year they have a flood of applications. So the two go hand in hand, and I think both programs right now are in good shape.
Good. Well, Jeff, we appreciate you being with us today. Again, your insight is just so helpful to all of us. But we do have a question from the studio audience I have to ask you. What's the craziest comment you've received being confused for the senator from South Carolina.
Yes. That's so funny. Jeff Duncan and I, we actually communicated over the years.
Y'all do
'cause we
know
get
each other?
Yes, we've communicated over mistaken emails. He gets mistaken emails about me. Saints fans emailing him wanting to know what's wrong, and I get blamed for all kinds of legislation that's been passed that I didn't vote for. And there's another Jeff Duncan, pronounced, I should say, spelled Geoff, who's a politician in Georgia who also gets cross-pollinated in this. So.
Wow. Do you have any comment on the South Carolina race?
No, a reserved comment. I'll plead the fifth on that. But it's been fun and entertaining, if nothing else.
Well, when you finish the book, I'd like to have you back on to talk about that particularly. But we look forward to following you at NOLA.com and across all the social platforms that you populate. And again, appreciate you being here. You're becoming one of our regulars, and we deeply thank you for that.
It's my pleasure anytime for you and the great Romig family. I'm so happy. And congratulations on your induction in the Sports Foundation Hall
Well,
of
I
Fame.
appreciate that. I'll pass it on to Jay and Marbeth. And, my mom is totally over the moon about this. So
I should tell you, I had a handwritten letter from your mother at the office the other day thanking me for the story.
there you
nice.
go. She's going to be there in her true blue form, and she'll probably be wearing something black and gold, but that's October 15th. I'm looking forward to it. I hope to see you there.
Yeah, I'll be there, and I hope your mother's there as well. She should be very proud.
Yeah, thank you. We're joined by David Harris. He's the Director of Athletics at Tulane University. A Baton Rouge native, he came to Tulane after leading the athletics program at the University of Northern Iowa, returning to Louisiana in 2024 to take the helm of the Green Wave. Since then, he's helped guide Tulane athletics through a period of championship momentum, major investment, and rapid change across college sports. A lot of change. David, great to have you with us.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So good to be with you. And you being a Baton Rouge native, coming back to Louisiana to lead Tulane athletics, what made that opportunity feel like it was the right time for you?
I felt like Tulane had a lot of positive momentum already, just trying to keep track of it from a distance. My family and I had been looking for an opportunity to possibly be able to come back south. And so when Tulane came open, I had always kind of circled it as being a potential place because my family originates from New Orleans, both my mom and my dad. And so after they got married, they moved to Baton Rouge, which is where I was born and raised. And so lots of family connections here in the city still. And so because of the academic reputation, I have a nephew who played football here from, I think, 05 to 09.
Okay.
So obviously has some familiarity in that regard. But the family connection, the momentum, what was happening, not just with football, but with a lot of different sports programs, and just the uniqueness of the city, the greatness of the city of New Orleans just made it something that jumped off the page for us from the very beginning.
What a legacy to jump into, huh? Wow.
Absolutely. And so it's been great being back. It's been great being close to family, but it's been great to be a part of a university that has great momentum and an athletics department that's continuing to make strides.
Yeah. Okay, let's go there. We got to go to the football. You enter this season as a defending American Conference champion. How do you build on that success without letting last season's accomplishment become like the ceiling? I mean, first off, that's got to be just so much greatness coming off the season. You feel so strong about that.
You know, I'm not the coach and I'm not playing, so you can take my comments for what they're worth. But I think you have to approach every season not necessarily as the defending champion, not that you're defending something, but you're going out to win something again, right? So each team, this team hasn't won anything. And so it's an opportunity for us to go out and pursue a championship. And so in many ways, I look at us as pursuing the same trophy that everyone else is pursuing. We have the 2025 trophy in our building, but the 2026 trophy is yet to be won. And we would like that one too. But that starts with what you're doing in the off season, what you're doing in January, what you do in spring practice, what you're doing in the summer, in your fall camp, and then how you play each and every game. And so while I like the fact that we have great continuity in the program, we have a strong culture, we have great leadership, I think we also have hunger, just these guys still feel that they have something to prove. They still feel, well, you can look at and see the things that are written and said. We are being doubted by a number of different areas and publications when you look at how we're ranked from a standpoint of just in our own conference. So I think that's providing, if we needed more, that's providing even more fuel to the fire that still have something to prove, and we have an opportunity to go out and prove it.
What excites you about the opening with Duke? I mean, that's going to be a classic.
Yeah, a big-time game for us, having a chance to go on the road and play an ACC opponent. Just excited about that challenge. I know that our guys will be up for it. It'll be the first game of the year and playing the type of opponent that won their league last year as well. So when you look at your non-conference schedule and you can see that caliber of opponent, especially to start off with, you're thinking about that all during the off season, and you bring all of your focus and your concentration and your energy to putting your best foot forward in that first game. So having a game like that to start off the season, I think our guys will really be excited, really be up for it, playing in a hostile environment, and with something to prove. It should be a great game.
Yeah. In your position as athletic director, you're seeing it firsthand how much college athletics is changing. You've got the NIL, you've got the revenue sharing, the transfer portal. For a school like Tulane, where do you see the biggest opportunity in all of that change?
I think for us, the opportunity lies in that we're positioned well to be able to have success, but we have to continue to be able to invest in our people, invest in our facilities, invest in rev share. All of those things are opportunities that are in front of us. And so I think as college athletics has changed, one of the things that hasn't changed is that investment usually brings some degree of results. It's not guaranteed, and not always the team that's the best funded is going to win. That's not how we've won so many games here recently. But there is an opportunity now that student athletes are receiving payments that if you can find the funds to be able to compensate them appropriately, you really have a chance to be able to secure difference makers in your program. And so that's not easy. The money doesn't grow on trees, unfortunately. Believe me, I've checked all the trees, and the money's not growing there. So we have to go out and find it to the best of our ability. But if you can secure that, you can hold on some of your players. You can bring in players that can make a difference in your program, and you can put them into a culture, which I think is one of the things that we believe will make a difference for us. You can put them into a culture that is player-led. You can give them strong leadership with Coach Hall and with our assistant coaches. Then you really have an opportunity to have something special. And so I think we have a combination of a number of things that gives us a chance to be able to have success.
And also, and you've put a lot of emphasis on this, the facilities, particularly the new indoor practice facility, which serves all your sports. I mean, I think players are looking for a good environment, and kudos to you for what you've been able to create and keep building, with the stadium and the indoor facility and all the other areas.
Well, thank you. We want to continue to make those investments. We know that so much of the funding now is being shifted toward payments towards student athletes, and we're no different in that regard. But at the same time, you do want to have and do need first-class facilities for your student athletes to be able to practice and compete in. So that's something that we want to continue to do and address and find ways that we meet the needs that our sports programs have. And so as those opportunities come up, we will make the appropriate plans, we'll fundraise, and we'll continue to try to build facilities that can really be difference makers for us.
Very good. Tulane Athletics has really leaned into that NOLA-built identity. What does New Orleans give this program that you simply couldn't replicate anywhere else?
There's no other place in the world like New Orleans. This is just a truly special place, and I think there's so much in the identity of the city, the resilience, the culture that is just different than any other place that you can be. Even as someone who was born and raised in Louisiana, born and raised in Baton Rouge, New Orleans is different than Baton Rouge. Most people would think, South Louisiana, it's pretty much the same. It's not. New Orleans stands alone in that regard. And so really having a chance to hook in to the identity of the city, the strength of the people, the resilience that we've shown time and time again, the great food, the great music, the great culture, the identity that just allows New Orleans to separate itself really from any other great city in the world. And so as you associate yourself with that, it gives you a chance to be able to separate your university and your athletics program in a similar fashion. And so we've really embraced trying to represent what the city is all about and have pieces of the culture of the city be reflected in who we are, how we do things, our uniforms.
I was hoping you would bring up the uniform.
All of those things.
Yes.
It's a big component
Those uniforms
for us.
are fantastic.
Well, thank you. We've gotten incredible feedback over the last 2 years about the uniform, and people, I think, really appreciate how it reflects the city.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've been very intentional about, and I'm fortunate to have great staff members in our equipment room who've come up with the design, working with the gentleman who does the helmets for us, working with our external team who put out the sales of the jersey and the helmet. Everything just came together really nicely. But most importantly, it's just another step that I think shows our investment in showing that we really want to reflect and play for and reflect the passion that this city represents.
That's great. Final question for you, sir. When you look 5 years down the road, what would success for Tulane athletics look like beyond wins and championships?
Well, if you're on my staff, you probably are sick of hearing me say this, because I've said it since, I think, the first day that I came, and that is I believe we can be the model for college athletics. And by that, I mean that academically, we already have an elite institution. Athletically, we've shown that we can win championships across a number of different sports. We're out in the community, serving the community. We did 6,700 hours of community service last year. We're building young men and women to be leaders once they leave the university. We are trying to make being in college the type of transformational experience that it's always been intended to be. So that they can become better and go out and become leaders in whatever walk of life they choose to pursue. And we have a chance to do these things in one of the best cities in the world. And so we want to be a place that people look at and say, they do it right at Tulane. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for a model of what college athletics is supposed to be about, if you're looking at a model of what it means to combine academics and athletics, if you're looking at a model where the university really represents the city, where they're producing leaders, where they represent what the university is about and bring credit and bring notoriety to the university, where they're doing things the right way and in a positive fashion. I believe we have the opportunity to be able to do that. It's something we have to work on every day. It's something we have to build toward. It's a big goal. It's a big aspiration, but I believe we're capable. And so that's what we spend every day thinking about and working toward. Having it be a day that arrives where people look at us and feel that we are the example of how college athletics should be, that we produce great young men and women, and that we have success on and off the field.
Very good. So Tulane athletics will become the role model for other programs across the country.
That's the goal.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for being with us, giving us a perspective on Tulane athletics and what's happening for this season, but also for all sports happening out there. Your leadership is really making a difference, and I know we all appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate the invitation.
Roll wave.
Roll wave.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great show so far. Now, let's go to April Dupree to find out what's happening this week in New Orleans.
Thanks so much, Mark. Here's where to eat, drink, and of course, play this week in New Orleans. Culinary is in its final week, so don't miss your chance to make it count. If you're planning to check out the final porchside performance at the Ernst & Royal Convention Center this Thursday, turn it into a full night out. This free outdoor concert series takes place on the Heritage Porch from 5:30 to 7 p.m. with Robin Barnes and the Firebirds performing this week. Since you'll already be in the Warehouse District, stick around after the music and take advantage of one last round of culinary dinner deals nearby. Try Annunciation for a polished dinner just a few blocks away, Galliano for Louisiana flavor on Julia Street, or La Boca for big Argentine steakhouse energy on Chapatulas. You can also check out Cafe Normandy or Wild Turkey on Andrew Higgins, Lemoyne Bistro on Chapatulas, Place on Annunciation, or Vian's on Girard. Midsummer Mardi Gras takes over on Oak Street this Saturday. Hosted by the crew of Oak, this neighborhood walking parade celebrates the halfway point to Carnival with costumes, music, and plenty of Oak Street personality. This year's theme is Bone and Chrome, and the parade starts at Maple Leaf Bar at 7 p.m. If you're headed that way, there are plenty of places to grab something to sip before the parade rolls. Start with Maple Leaf Bar, Oak Nail, Oak Street Brewery, Old Elka Distillery, Pink Lotus, and Sukabon. For something non-boozy, Breads on Oak, Zot's Cafe, Rue Delacour, and Euphorbia Kava and Coffee Bar offer coffee, tea, kava, and something easy to sip before the streets fill up. On Tuesday, Comedy Beast brings stand-up to the Howling Wolf. On Wednesday, Herman Grimma After Hours offers a chance to experience one of the French Quarter's historic properties in a different way. Then on Thursday, Comedy Gumbo brings more laughs to the Howling Wolf, while Porchside Performances wraps up its August series at the Convention Center. On Friday, Bluey's Big Play comes to town through Sunday for the little ones, and Tipitina's Free Friday concert series continues with Stanton Moore, Joe Ashlar, Danny Abel, and Brad Walker, plus Jelly Joseph. The Saints also head to Dallas Friday night for the preseason matchup against the Cowboys, so find a spot to post up and watch the Black and Gold. Then on Saturday, stop by the French Market District's Farmers Market Performance Stage from noon to 1 for an interactive hour with New Orleans Black Masking Indians and a festive cooking demonstration with Gumbo Marie. The event is free and open to the public with samples of New Orleans favorites available while supplies last. For more information on where to eat, drink, and play this week, visit neworleans.com. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks, April. And now for something positively New Orleans. For nearly 2 centuries, the story of Tulane University has been inseparable from the story of New Orleans. Tulane traces its beginnings to 1834 when the Medical College of Louisiana was founded in response to the devastating diseases confronting this growing international port city. By 1847, it had become part of the University of Louisiana, and eventually Tulane University. From its very beginning, its mission was not to simply educate, but to solve problems, improve lives, and serve its community. And that mission continues today. Tulane is one of America's great research universities, attracting extraordinary students, faculty, physicians, scientists, and innovators to New Orleans. Its work in medicine, public health, infectious disease, cancer research, coastal resilience, energy, and countless other fields is helping address some of the greatest challenges facing our region, our nation, and our world. Under President Mike Fitz, Tulane has entered an extraordinary period of growth and ambition. Research funding has expanded dramatically. The Tulane Innovation Institute is helping transform discoveries into new technologies, companies, and jobs. And Tulane's growing downtown presence, including its role in the redevelopment of Charity Hospital, is helping create an innovation and biomedical corridor that can reshape the economy of New Orleans for generations. Tulane's economic impact is enormous, supporting thousands of jobs, attracting investment and talent, and contributing billions of dollars to the economy of New Orleans and Louisiana. But Tulane's greatest contribution cannot be measured simply in dollars. It is measured in generations of graduates who have left this university and carried what they learned here into communities across America and around the world as doctors, lawyers, scientists, educators, entrepreneurs, public servants, and leaders. And it can also be felt right here on their campus. The return of Tulane football to the Uptown campus with the opening of Ullman Stadium in 2014 has had an extraordinary impact on student life. Saturdays once again became true campus-wide celebrations, bringing students, faculty, alumni, families, and the New Orleans community together around the Green Wave. That renewed spirit of pride and belonging has helped strengthen the bond between generations of Tulaneans. And the remarkable success of Tulane athletics in recent years has given the university and New Orleans another reason to proudly proclaim, "Roll Wave." Wherever Tulane graduates go, they carry a little bit of New Orleans with them. For almost 200 years, New Orleans has helped make Tulane extraordinary, and Tulane has helped make New Orleans stronger, smarter, healthier, and more connected to the world. Their futures have always been intertwined. And perhaps the most exciting chapter of that remarkable partnership is still being written. And that's positively New Orleans. That's our show for this week. Thanks to our incredible guests and to all of you for watching and listening. And a special thanks to our sponsors, Blue Runner Foods, Bienville Capital Group, New Orleans & Company, our friends at Visit the North Shore, and their podcast, All the Waves. Go check it out. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for all of our new videos. We'll see you next week.